Did you get that question? Again, even though I don't have it in front of me, I do get the question. A little bit about my background with Total Ministry and different forms of formation and things like that. I am a student and have been for a long time of what's called a variety of different things. Total ministry, mutual ministry. In our world, we call it baptismal ministry. In fact, at the core of our theology of who we are as a faith community and the theology that I really live into from a ministry standpoint comes out of that very essence. Wes Frensdorf out of the Diocese of Nevada was an early mentor for me. Jim Kelsey out of Upper Michigan was an early mentor for me. My own bishop, Jeff Terry, who I work for on staff, was very much involved with that. When I worked on the staff with him, we began Total Ministry in our diocese. It was part of my responsibility, and in fact, it was in the small church where I grew up. It was the first place that we did that. Helped set up a school for ministry for that, to prepare folks, train folks, do all of those sort of things to make that happen. Later transitioned onto the standing committee and began to work on the structures, the systems to put all of those things into place and into play. I'm a big advocate for total ministry or mutual ministry or baptismal ministry, but the umbrella that I use is I really at my core believe in what, this is language that works for me, is helping communities really become ministry-centered communities. That's not anti-clericalism, obviously. I believe in ordained ministry, but it's really that those communities, regardless if they're cathedrals or they're small little churches, what they're really about is helping folks discern their gifts, those things they're passionate about, and helping them live those out in their lives. Really then helping to equip those folks, affirm those folks, and really work with them to truly live into that. Too often it's a situation that is born out of economics. I really think it comes from a theological place based upon our baptismal covenant. We really use that in terms of grasping who we are as God's beloved, what our gifts are, and how we may use those in a community. So, been a part of the ordination process from standing committee, commission on ministry, on a diocesan staff, and have ordained in the 13 years of our faith community. 4 different people have come through that, but I'd be more happy to tell you about the 496 other folks who are laity who have really gained a sense of discernment and their own gifts for ministry and are now living those out. We don't pay anybody to mow the lawn at the church because we don't pay anybody to teach Sunday school. We really believe that whatever your gift is, whatever your passion is, whatever you'd like to offer to the Lord, we do that, and that's at the heart for us of baptismal ministry, mutual ministry, total ministry, being a ministry-centered faith community. What was that question again? Let me give you just a little brief picture of the world I come from, because I think it's helpful. Part of the connection with Minnesota and that sense of being called here, and when people called for Minnesota and when we did some sense of discernment, mutual discernment about this, is that I come from a world that's very similar to Minnesota in terms of having a metro area and a larger place, larger geographically. Ours is the city of Spokane, and then we have a bazillion little small towns that are from there, some as far as 5 hours away from the Sea City. I grew up in one of those that was 3 hours away from the Sea City, 4 hours away from our diocesan camp. As a young person traveling the diocese, traveled to all those places, working on the diocesan staff, traveled to all those places, continue to do that in my work in the diocese, whether consulting with congregations or whatever. Traveling from long distances to get to small places or to get to mid-sized places or any size places is a part of my DNA. I'm always baffled when I talk to friends who work in New York and they complain that they have to drive about 10 minutes. I just don't, or other places in the Northeast, we're just used to getting in the car and driving long distances to get to a place, and we're not disappointed if there's only 4 or 5 people there. That's just the makeup of what we do. So I'm used to that. I think we live in a phenomenal time now more so than ever. There's incredible ways to be connected that you weren't before. A part of those ways of being connected really have to do anyway from our internet to satellite. I've been interested in Iowa and part of the way they've done their education program. We use in our diocese what's known as CALL, which comes out of the Church Divinity School of the Pacific in terms of training for folks at that. We also have become involved with the TEAM program, which is theological education for emerging ministries. And a part of that actually is happening in the Minneapolis area as well. So I'm used to a variety of those sort of settings. I think it's, with all the technology, it's still really important for the bishop and those who serve with the bishop, who are out there resourcing congregations, to be there as much as possible. Back to the original part of who I am, I'm a relational person. I call lots of folks all the time on the phone, and I text people a lot, and I email folks a lot. And all of that really helps continue to keep that sense of relationship going with folks. But there's nothing, of course, that we all know that beats just face-to-face time. So I appreciate and enjoy being with folks. So it's a huge challenge. I don't think there's any way around that. Just the best thing you can do is be in communication, be in relationship as much as possible, and like to drive. You got to like to drive.